Bobby, saw Rico to the side in practice today. Anything wrong there?
Just got to, a little nicked up and get him healthy. Once we get him healthy, I think he's fine. Just get him where he'll lead the group and be full speed every single play.
Looking at your stable of backs, do you think A.J. was a little underrated by the rest of the folks around the conference last year, considering how well he played?
Well, he had a great year, and he's probably our most explosive player, and was voted on by his teammates to do that, to be that guy, and had a great year and does such a good job for us on special teams as well. And and A.J.'s really had a good spring so far, and I hope it continues on. And again, just looking for one of those guys to lead this group. We don't want somebody to all be the same. We want somebody to step up and be the leader.
Coach, given the year that he had, do you feel like he's deserving of that #1 spot?
Oh, yes. I think he can definitely be the #1 guy and, and was the #1 guy for most of the season. And then, what happens is the guys get nicked and you end up having to put another guy in there. And I think in this day and age, you're going to have to play 3 guys. If you look at all the great teams, they're playing 2 to 3 guys and sometimes 4. And I think we're right in that same boat for next year. Well, I'd like them to be the guy in the meeting room. We want to compete in the meeting room. We have a win-loss column in our meeting room, and we want them to compete off the field. We want them to compete on the field, and then we want to compete in the weight room, and then just compete in life. Feed the good wolf. Just be a great person on and off the field. And right now, all those guys are kind of fighting for that person who's going to be that cock of the walk, who's going to be that guy to be the domineering person in that group.
Bobby, how's the relationship been so far? I know you got to work with BMAC the last season, and obviously the Outback Bowl being the offensive coordinator. But how is that trio between you and Warner going?
I think it's great. I've been able to be around BMAC. He recruited our school, so I knew BMAC from years ago, and just always kind of felt like we saw things alike. Being able to steal yards on the perimeter, being able to put the guys in speed positions or the speed guys in positions to make plays. And I think we see things alike. I think Dan and I, the short time I've been able to know him and work with him, it's very exciting to hear his knowledge and the amount of the vast information he has on quarterback play and how to make it simplified, how to make it where you can completely understand it and not be any gray area. He's helped me with that.
Bobby, Tyson, played a lot early in the season last year, and then maybe later on as he didn't get as many reps. How did he handle that?
Tyson is it all goes back to being ready and being prepared and having confidence. He's probably, you look at him on the field, the most talented in the practice field. That's got to carry over in the game. That's why you see a lot of inconsistencies when you see game day. But on the practice field, you see a lot of probably the most dominant guy on the practice field, but that's got to carry over. And like I told him, I can't wait to the Coastal Carolina game to see how he performs because he's the guy. We got to see it under the lights, though.
How much? What's been the issues about him not having that confidence on game day?
We're working on that, and I think he's over it, and I think he's ready to take the next step and become a pro.
Outside of Rico being hurt, what have you kind of seen from him, coming back from the injury and all that early in the spring?
It's been nagging for him. It's a thing that's been bothering him since bowl game, and he's out there and basically helps us win the bowl game. I don't know what percent he was, but he wasn't full speed, and he's talented, and we want him ready, we want him healthy, and he'll help us, on the field as a power guy because he's such a slasher, just like he ran the touchdown on the speed option. Being able to cut back and back shoulder that safety, we need that talent on the field.
Let's take us back to that bowl game, coaching Jake again and seeing what he did. Guys were able to win the Outback Bowl and kind of his progression up till now.
It was great. It was great that Coach allowed me to coach quarterbacks and had the trust in me to do that. I'll do whatever he asked me to do. If it's to coach tight ends, coach whatever he wants me to do, I'll do it. And it was fortunate for me that I was able to coach my son in the bowl game, and that was a great memory for us as a family. And just being a Gamecock, just being able to embrace him after that game and after that win, because at the end of the day, it's about winning. And we did it, and it was a great feeling for us to be able to do that together because, honestly, I hadn't been able to coach him. I've coached him as a youngster through 7-on-7 and all, but then when he moved to Alabama, I was coaching him from the stands, which is hard to do as a parent.
Jake looks skinny.
He's lost a few pounds. He's gotten a little faster, a little quicker, working on his speed and agility, and I think he's trying to take his game to another level.
Bobby, was there any part of you that maybe was quarterbacks full time before they brought Dan in?
You know, I was going to trust Coach. He had kind of told me earlier that I was going to be the running backs coach, but he wanted to hire quarterbacks coach. So I kind of knew what was going on with it, but you never know. And again, I've been a head coach before, so I know sometimes those puzzle pieces don't fit exactly how you want, and I'll just do whatever Coach asks me to do to help our program.
What do you think people would say maybe that decision was made just because you're his father and they just didn't want you to work with him in that sense?
I don't know. You know, you're only going to have him for 2 years at the most, so I don't know if it was that, but I think just Coach thought he made the best decision for the program. You got a guy like Dan who's got a lot of experience, and we've done a good job with the running backs, I think, flipping the room and making some production there, and we've got to do a better job. But I think he was wanting to go that route and keep me with running backs.
Bobby, you're going into your third year here now. When you're out around Columbia, how many people approach you as running backs coach Bobby Bentley, and how many say, "Oh, that's Jake's dad"?
It's funny. There's a bunch of people at practice today. I'm running from field 1 to field 2, and for 29, this is my 30th year, 29 years coaching, I've always been Coach Bentley. And as I run across the field from field 1 to field 2, hey, that's Jake's dad. So I'm good with it. I've heard it a few times in Cockwalk. So I'm good with Jake's dad as long as we're winning. I'll continue to be Jake's dad as long as I'm here. That's fine with me.
Bobby, can you talk about the 2 young running backs you guys brought in this class and how excited you are?
Yes. You know, I thought Deshaun Fenwick had one of his best days today. He's still learning how to play running back. He is definitely learning how to play the position. He's a natural, though. He's a natural runner. Has a lot of God-given ability. He's got to learn to strain himself, you know, become a college freshman and become a sophomore real quick with early enrolling. That's tough on a young man. That's hard, you know, having to go to school and do all the things that we ask him to do as a running back. But he's a big young man. I mean, he's 6'1", 6'2", 228 pounds. So we want him to run like a 228-pounder too, though.
And Levante?
Levante Valentine, you know, a speed guy, Florida State champion. We signed him on his speed. We wanted him to bring that speed element to the room. Not that we don't have speed, but it's a fact of he's a Florida State champion in track, and we think that'll help our football team on special teams as well as a returner. So we're excited about him.
Coach, I know there's a lot of talk about the offensive line and how they're going to able to need to produce this year, but you know, running backs, they have to pass protect too. I guess what have you guys been emphasizing this offseason as far as running backs contributing in pass protection?
Obviously, we got to be more than just a runner in this system. You got to be able to pass block, and you got to have power in your body, and that carries over from the weight room and the off-season program, but it also carries over to just getting in front of the linebackers, getting in front of them to protect the quarterback, and knowing that that's your job, not just that you're going to be a running back. And then obviously you got to be able to produce. When the ball's in your hands, regardless if there's any blocking, you got to produce. And that's what we've got to do a better job of, especially against the good teams. We've got to produce against the good teams, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next year.
We saw Darius Douglas moonlighting a little bit at running back during the cock drill. Is that on you to kind of round up find all those bodies to sort of fill out that part? Or?
We're just trying to get some guys to fill in for the drill. I think Darius is a quarterback, but obviously he's an athlete, so we can fill in at that position and help us out with that drill.
Obviously, you haven't put together game plans yet, but do you feel like you're going to have a little bit more influence and say, I guess, into what goes on Saturdays this year versus last?
I think right now in our room, it's probably a little more of a team approach in the room, maybe. I think, you know, BMAC's probably more open to other ideas than maybe we had in the past. Not that that's good or bad. I'm just saying I think that is obviously in the room is more of an open field, open forum, and the BMAC's wanting to get his other ideas to put his stamp on it. And that's what's neat about him and, you know, his experience. He's open to it, and he put a couple plays in today, and they worked too. It was good to see him work on the field today.
You mentioned the fact that you're going to have 2, 3, maybe 4 guys you could rotate in at running back. With an up-tempo offense like that, do you constantly stress that with the guys that you're going to need to be fresh and need to be kind of willing to go, you know, throughout the game?
Yeah, and you know, we don't want them to take rotation in as you're not doing your job. We want a dominant person to step up. I think you got to have another guy to fill in, but I don't want to rotate just for the sake of, hey, we're rotating. I want somebody to step up and be the guy that everybody in the stands knows that he's going to get the ball on 3rd and 2 and get the first down. That's what the great ones do. and that's what we got to do in our running back room. Somebody's got to step up, get the first down on 3rd and 2 when everybody in the stands, including my wife, knows that we're going to carry the ball. We're going to get the first down.
Bobby, how much does it help to have had a guy like that in Marcus that you coached that did that here and be able to point out his example to those guys that say, I want you to be what Marcus was on 3rd and 2?
He said it the first day he was here. On 3rd down and 2, we're going to get the ball and we're going to get the first down. Period. No other discussion. And that's what we expect them to do.
Bobby, what's it been like for you? I know how close you guys were back in high school, having Marcus around all the time now.
Well, it's very simple. You know, right now we're really focusing on who's the cock of the walk, who's the guy that's going to be the dominant person in the room, who's going to take over another person's space. Marcus Lattimore, the first time he touched the ball as a freshman, scores a touchdown on national television. That's the mentality we got to have in the room, and I'm not sure we've had that in the past. I think we'll have it this year.
Do you think that's Rico, or who do you think that's going to be?
There's 4 guys that I know can do it, and I think you can add Caleb Kinlaw's had a good spring as a 5th guy, and Deshaun Fenwick's got a battle. But at the end of spring practice, and the night before we play Coastal Carolina, that guy's got to be there, whoever it's going to be at a show on the field.
Do you need to see Rico at all this spring?
Yes, we need to see Rico. Our team needs to see Rico. It all goes back to having respect, and you get the respect from your teammates in practice and through the weight room.